All right, we made it to the final session of LA Green Jobs Pavilion. You all are so amazing for staying this whole day. I'm like, how do we have a packed room at 6 p.m.? I'm like, this is kind of crazy right now. But we like to finish Pavilion in this session because if you heard anything from what you learned in the past sessions today, everyone keeps going back to this concept of mentorship. And I remember coming up with this session because I remember when I would go to all these climate conferences and be involved in this work, and I still just felt like, who's advocating for me? How do I get to that next step? And I remember one of my mentors, he told me, and he didn't call himself a mentor at the time. He was like, I think you need to find a mentor. And I was like, what in the world is that? And he was like, that's someone who, is going to bat for you, someone who you can share ideas with, someone who you can really think about. And I would say that I have found both like people that are mentors to me, but also people who like endorse me, right? So there's people that maybe will just give you advice, and then there's people that will actually resource you, people that will actually, partner and bond with you and build bigger things with you. And all of that is valuable, but it's like, how do you even get started on that, right? And I would say that Dianna, who is here on the panel, is definitely one of my mentors. And the whole reason this panel is happening is through her mentorship. So I really invited all these incredible folks on this panel today because I felt like they each could contribute something really powerful with their leadership in the sustainability and climate space, and to talk about the value of mentorship that allowed them to get where they are today. So that is what we're going to be discussing today, and I would love for each of you to just take a moment, introduce yourselves, and what your green career is.
Sure. So I'm Reverend Ray Huang, and I am a candidate running for mayor of Los Angeles. And the question was?
Your relationship with green careers.
The relationship. So for me, the question is, when I was growing up, I wanted very much to care about the world. And by the way, I just want to shout out to everybody who's here. Everybody I've met has been so inspiring to me. So I feel really honored, actually, to be sitting up here because I feel like all of you should be sitting up here and telling your stories. But as I was growing up, I think there was a big question about how I can help shape the world and change the world. And in talking about sustainability, one of the ways was recycling, right? And not flushing a toilet unless it was brown, right? It was not being wasteful with your water, and so turning off the water when you're showering, all that kind of thing. But then there was this question around, does this actually change the world? Does this actually get us any further? There's a quote on my wall that says, when I give food to the poor, they call me a saint. But when I ask why the poor have no food, they call me a communist. And that has very much informed and why I am now running for office, because I think for me, the way that I feel called in my value add right now is about asking that why question and then changing it systemically for us to actually be able to have the green economy that we need for us to have a sustainable world in the future.
Hi, everyone. I'm Loretta. Some serious imposter syndrome right now because I used to be out there and now I'm up here.
That's right.
So I'm currently the VP of Customer Success at Worldly. If you may have known the Sustainable Apparel Coalition from years past, it was formed really as an industry association bringing together some of the major apparel and footwear brands around the world. And we now own and run the software platform that supports the Scope 3 emissions data gathering throughout the entire world. So I run the team now that helps those brands get that data. Again, serious imposter syndrome. Like, I can't believe that I am where I am today, but I didn't get here by myself. I got here because of the mentors that I have, and I run a team now, and I feel a very large sense of responsibility to be mentors for them, to grow their career so that they can be and feel successful like I have today. So I'm excited to share more with you as we go through our panel.
I'm Dianna Cohen. I'm a co-founder, and currently I'm the Chief Vision Officer of Plastic Pollution Coalition. And I just have to say, I loved the last panel. I've loved all the panels. But I really love the last panel because I'm a visual artist. And I come to this work not as a person who was intending to be an activist or really anything. Wasn't expecting anything that I now have been working on for the past 17 years. But I come to it as a visual artist and a person who studied painting, but I've been making work for 35 years out of plastic bags that I cut up and sew back together. And I have a love-hate relationship with the material. And that also led to co-founding Plastic Pollution Coalition. Thanks. Anyway, I can talk about it more, but I'll just pass it on. And I'm a native Los Angelino, born and raised here, about only a few blocks away from here, born. So, yeah.
All right, shout out to everyone who stayed for the headlining panel. So closing it out with some really good vibes. Thank you, Kristy. This is amazing. What a beautiful space to share with all of you. My name is Helene Cornell. I co-founded a company called Eris Hydronics. Thank you. What is hydronics? I don't know, but it's HVAC. And how did I get into HVAC? That is a really big industry. I started out in construction, and I've been doing construction for 25 years. I'm a big supporter of diversity in the trades. Talk about AI, a job that you will not have to worry about is plumbing, HVAC, electrician. So anyone that wants some advice about that, come talk to me. But as I was building houses with my mom, I realized there's this big problem with how all these old, outdated HVAC are not talking to each other. So we invented a future-proof way to address holistically everything in the house to electrify it and decarbonize it at scale. And I'm just really happy to be here. And I wouldn't be here without my mentors, because this is such a big industry. How can I possibly tackle it without people that are way, way, way smarter than me? So thank you. I'm humbled.
I love it. I love it. And round of applause, round of applause, round of applause. Incredible, incredible. So I would love each of you to walk us through who is a mentor of yours who you can shout out, give us an anecdote. What was the kind of resource and support that they provided to you? And how did you build that relationship? What did that even look like?
Do you want to just start this way? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, I just have to give a shout out to Los Angeles Clean Tech Incubator. Anybody? Lacey? Anybody from Lacey? Wonderful program. And as part of being in their curriculum, they do give you a mentor. And they have the most amazing mentors in the world. And this woman was my cheerleader. It was more like a psychiatrist. Which I needed just for all of the trauma as a founder. But she saw the roadblocks and she just removed them like a surgeon. And I don't think I would be here without my mentors, but I'll just be clear, there are a lot of different mentors in my Rolodex because there's a lot of different problems that you have, from legal to technical, and there's no way that you can do all of it. I think there's this big stigma as founders that we're so smart that we can solve all these No. We just delegate. So have a lot of different mentors for all of your different problems is one of my pieces of advice.
I'll go next. Mentors. I would say I was asked about this once for an article, and I can't remember what it was for. I think I shared it with you when we were talking about this panel. I have mentors in my life who are... I love older people and have always loved older people because I think I'm so grateful for the wisdom that they bring and their perspective on the world, and watching a world change. But when I was asked in the past to talk about my mentors, I realized that some of them were in their 80s or 90s, and some of them are kids and teenagers who have been part of my life. And I feel like I have learned things equally from people. I'm not ageist when it comes to mentors. And so that would be my recommendation, is don't be ageist about who your mentors are. You can find, and don't be afraid to ask for help or ask for advice when there's something that you don't know how to do or you don't understand. I guess again, being a visual artist, being an artist, I feel very comfortable, and being a person who's pretty outgoing. I feel comfortable just asking people or strangers to help me with things or advise me or for, their wisdom. And I would just say never stop being like that. I think curiosity is really important, and it helps lead us forward in the work that we all do collectively, whatever. I have so many ideas of things I could talk about. I'll pass it on.
Building on that a little bit, so you're an extrovert and I'm an introvert. And it was really hard for me to find a mentor because it was hard for me to start conversations in the beginning. Not all of us have that same level of courage or confidence to reach out to somebody. So I took really small steps, whether it was like just to reach out via like an instant message or especially in the workforce, like you find people that you admire, you look up to, or you see their careers have gone in a way that you see yourself going. And it was small steps for me, little things, bumping into them sometimes in the cafeteria and just saying hello. And that was all I could manage for that day. But like over time, you start building this relationship with the person that you want to be a mentor with. And it serves as a really strong foundation for a strong relationship for someone who's going to be your advocate, but also someone who's going to stand by and guide you and help you through your career as well.
Yeah, I love what everybody on this panel has been saying, and it totally resonates with me. Especially love the comment about not being ageist and the fact that you really do find mentors in every age and arena and unexpected spaces. I think something that I would add to the conversation is that for me, the thing is, many of us are here kind of thinking about maybe our creative career or our creative imagination, and maybe thinking about this from a professional perspective. But I actually want to talk about the fact that we find mentors in every aspect of our lives. And in terms of our spiritual, our emotional, our physical, right, finding the right coach, the right trainer, there's mentorship in all of these spaces, and they're all equally actually important. And so for me, as I've been able to come to where I am now, where I'm actually on this place where I'm running for mayor, which is the biggest sort of career thing that I've decided to do. I've gotten here because I've sought out in every single aspect of my life. When I was questioning whether I should run for office, when I was questioning whether to do a career change, when I was questioning whether to be a mom, when I was questioning my sanity and needed therapy, right? Like you find those mentors, whether it's a friend or whether it's somebody you read about in a book, and then I literally have emailed authors, right? And the thing is, when you ask, people are so willing to share their inner wisdom and share what they've gone through because we all get it. And so anyway, that's something else I can add to the conversation today.
I love that. And I would love to bring it back to you about, when it comes to the opposite side of things around, if someone's coming to you and wanting to learn and build a relationship or, have you become a mentor, right? Because I always view these things as cyclical. How do you think someone could go around being intentional in their relationship building and their networking that doesn't come off as transactional or extractive, but can come off as genuinely we're going to learn from each other? How would you recommend someone framing, that outreach and keeping up that relationship with someone?
If I understand the question correctly, I guess I would answer it from. Sorry, say that. Just answer the last part.
I guess what I'm trying to say is I think sometimes people view the concept of networking as a pretty transactional thing, but I think we could reframe it through this lens of mentorship.
I see.
And I'm just wondering, how do you think someone could take steps to frame and be intentional in how they're building relationships with folks that they want to learn from to advance their career?
Yeah, that's such a good question. And I'll answer it. So I'm a community organizer. That's my training. That's my background. I've been a community organizer for over 20 years now. And for me, when I network, it's organizing 101. We actually call them one-on-ones, literally. And what we mean by that is, and I'll just give you a really quick primer. The questions I often, when I do these trainings on one-on-ones, is I ask people to answer 3 questions. The first is, who are you, or who am I? The second question is, where are you from? And you can answer that from any perspective. And the third is, what keeps you up at night? That's how we do one-on-ones. Why am I posing this? The intention is not necessarily to, even though there's always an ask at the end of a conversation in community organizing, the intention is not the ask. The intention is deeply connecting with the other person so that you actually are building an authentic relationship. And it's not just my asking you and getting to know you, it's also my sharing. And when I share my vulnerability, it is oftentimes mirrored. And then all of a sudden you have such a deep connection. It's not just about networking for professional reasons. It's a deeper connection of a deepened relationship, and you want to support that person because now you've heard their story, now you've connected on something, and now you have a common goal. You're going somewhere together. So I guess as somebody who's not necessarily in this specific profession, that's how I would answer it from a community organizing perspective.
You know, we're quite fortunate to kind of be in the sustainability space, right? We all believe in it deeply. Like, it's something that we hold core to ourselves. So authenticity for me is really important when someone comes and approaches me in terms of like asking me, you know, how I am able to be where I am today. Like, it does require that vulnerability. And for me, in order to give that to you, you have to come authentically to me as well. It's really easy for me to see if someone's just being transactional. It's really easy, like if you're reaching out to me and I can see that you're using AI, you're not being real with me. And those are really easy to ignore. So be real with me. Be real with those that you want to build that mentoring relationship with. But you can also recognize, like, I don't really want a mentorship with them. I just want it to be transactional. And those are okay too. But if you're really going to want a mentor, be authentic.
I'm just thinking about either relationships that are mentor-related relationships or just networking in general. And like I said, I'm 17 years into this, and I'm kind of an accidental fundraiser in what I do, et cetera. I feel like if you come to something in an authentic way with your heart, that is the thing that's the communication that I try to impart to other people when I speak, or gain from other people, or see in them when they're talking with me. Just a little example, I remember Kristy saying, "Hey, do you want to get together for you want to meet for coffee?" to me, and we didn't know each other that well. And I said, "Sure." Because that to me sounds like a great way to get to know somebody. And it's also fun to see for me because I carry my own reusable steel cup everywhere with me that I go. I've actually learned to bring an extra cup for friends too, so that I'm not putting them in an awkward position. But you know, but that's a fun thing. You know, that there's something that's fun about that and doing that together. And yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts about it. I do think that some communications between people are transactional in ways, but I've found overall, when I look at the years of having the opportunity to talk about my work or my artwork and what we're doing and our culture change work and our policy work, and that the most important thing to leave people with is something that really is coming from your heart. Because I think that when people listen to other people talk, and I think it's actually factual as well, research has shown that people don't remember a lot of what other people say, but they do remember something emotional that is imparted to them about how that person might have made them feel, and it's not exactly tangible, but that's what I would say. And I'm very moved by stuff like that, so.
Yeah, I totally agree about leading with vulnerability, authenticity, keeping it personal, keeping it light. You don't want to be too thirsty, you know. I know we all slide into people's DMs from time to time. But I would just give some advice, if there is someone that you want to work with, is just really get to know what they need help with, and then keep it super light. And I'll give you something that everybody needs help with: raising money or finding people with money. And if you don't know people with money, there's ways that you can go, "Hey, Kristy, I saw this great grant opportunity. I have a partner that would love to talk to you." So you're offering an introduction, and you're offering something really easy. "Here's an article that reminded me of you. Hope you've been good." And you just keep it super light, not too thirsty, put them on a schedule. And then you just kind of want to offer something really, really subtle. And for me, if you know anybody with money, or if you do have money, please come talk to me.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so you guys have all given great tips on how does one go about intentionally maybe talking to or building with a mentor. But the next step is, how do you even know where to look for said person? And how do you even be like, hey, maybe that could be a mentor? Like, how does one go about that?
You just got to shoot your shot. You know what I mean? Right? It's like online dating. I'm just going to be swiping on a bunch of people.
See who fits.
Right?
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to be at different places in their growth and their career and their strategy. So I would just say events like this is great. There's a lot of people here that are open and receptive. And the number one thing, do not take it personally. If someone doesn't get back to you, everyone's so busy. It has nothing to do with you. Just keep it light. Maybe a couple months later, coming back to you, I found this great thing that really might interest you. How's everything going with your dog or whatever personal thing you want to add to it? We don't use AI, obviously. And then, you just want to kind of, I guess, can I say spray and pray? Okay.
I have no idea.
I like that.
That's my answer. I literally have no idea. I think just in meeting people, talking to people, or reading the newspaper, following various things that are of interest to you or feel like they have overlap with something that you're interested in or working on, you may find kindred spirits. And there's a game that I play, especially when I travel on trains or planes, etc., where if someone has the unfortunate good luck of being seated next to me, I have often asked, if they speak to me, I've often asked the person next to me if they do something that they love. And it has turned into many interesting conversations and conversations where people, I don't know if I became their therapist or they revealed something very deep they haven't told their partner, or I don't know what happened. But I've had some really amazing conversations with people, or I've also asked people if they do something, if they do something that they love. That's the question I've asked them. And sometimes I've had people respond actually in an emotional way that then made me feel bad that I'd asked them that because maybe they actually are stuck in a job that they're not that happy with. And but it's always led to interesting conversations. And I don't know if that will help you at all, if that's advice at all, but it's a fun way to just have a conversation with somebody that you don't know.
So the introvert way to do it's kind of like an MLM.
I love this.
Where you got to grow your network from the people you know, and then it just keeps expanding and expanding, and then you can navigate through the people that you're comfortable with, the people that you know, and then find those other connections that you have. But I do it like an MLM.
I'm trying to think of what I can add to, because everybody, I think, I share the similar ideas. I think for me, it is very much it's a little bit like dating. So you go out there, you put yourself out there, and then when you happen to come upon somebody that you just have a kindred spirit with and share that passion, that interest, that whatever, or alternatively, like I said before, I've sometimes just read a book and just was so inspired by what the author said, I'll reach out to them, or so on and so forth. So, or sometimes online dating. I don't mean going online to look for a date, but I mean sometimes I'll have an idea and a concept, but I'll go online and research who's written about this or who's worked on this, and then I'll just reach out to them by email or give a phone call to their office and just see who picks up. And I've been successful most times, actually, to be honest. So I think it's just really putting yourself out there, being willing to connect and say, hey, I think you're great, and I'd love to talk more.
I love that. And you'd be surprised, so many people are willing to help you more often than not. And I really like the advice to not take it personally. And again, not to make it transactional, but it's kind of it's a numbers game. You know what I mean? I think at the end of the day, you're going to find your right fit. You're going to find the right person that is going to be your right fit. And one of the best pieces of career advice I was ever given by one of my mentors was to ask people for a 15-minute intro call. Most people can give you 15 minutes, not always an hour, not always 30 minutes. 15 minutes is that sweet spot where someone is willing to just sit with you and just tell you about what they do. You can treat it as a listening session. You don't need to make it about you. It's just like, I would love to just learn about you, and I'm doing it as a curiosity kind of, intention, and just say it like, I would love to get 15 minutes on your calendar. That's all I'm asking for. These are my, my interests. I've researched you, first of all. Tell them like, hey, I learned XYZ thing about your industry, what you're working on. I love that article you wrote. I love that panel you were on. I loved that research you've done. And this is where I'm at. And these are the synergies. This is my intention of reaching out to you. Like, that's the template. That's how I would approach it. And just being like 15 minutes of your time. If they're in person, being like, I would love to buy you a cup of coffee or a meal or whatever. Again, it's kind of like dating. But it's like making it worth their time too, if you're really trying to be out there and just like trying to listen to them, And then there's plenty of people that are willing to help you. So if you're thinking about a template, that's how I would recommend thinking about starting, and just doing your research though. Like, I've had people reach out to me and they're like, I just want to get on a call with you because you're like really big on social media. And I'm like, okay, but then they don't even know what I actually do. They just like want the clout, or they want to like connect with me to say they connected with me. And I don't like that. I like people who are like, actually, I could see the ways we could collaborate. I want to learn from you. I want to collaborate. I want to build with you. Those are the people I actually give my 15 minutes to. And then we build from there. So I would love to build off of that and finish this session by asking each of you, like, what was one of the best pieces of career advice you received from a mentor or otherwise that really got you far in your career?
I'd just like to give a shout out to my grandpa. He gave me the best piece of advice ever, which I will drop on you guys, so listen up. Don't pet the sweaty stuff, and don't sweat the petty stuff. I think the people that are going to survive this administration, this economy, this environment, this job market are the people that are open to change, that aren't stuck on life being and looking and feeling a certain way. The people that can adapt and adapt quickly are the ones that are going to survive. Thanks, Grandpa.
Great advice. Can I go after someone else? I lost my train of thought.
I was still trying to formulate mine. I mean, I've gotten so much great advice, and they're sometimes situational, right? Like, because you encounter different things around your professional career, different projects, different challenges. And the most recent one, I guess, is like, roll with it. Just roll with it. It's not personal most of the time. If a customer's mad at you, it might not be just about you. They might just have had a bad day, and it's okay. Just roll with it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you want to go first? If you have your All right. These are two pieces of organizing sort of mentorship advice. The first is, our struggle is our school. And so really leaning in and understanding that what we've been through and what our experiences is actually the best school that we will ever have, more than any other form of education and mentorship that we can get. And then the second is, you get what you are organized to take. You get what you are organized to take. And so ultimately, we will not get anything unless we organize and we work our asses off to take it away from those who should not be owning our lives.
So good. I have so many thoughts swirling in my mind right now. I'm just reacting to what everyone else is saying. Yeah, I would just say a great piece of advice. It's funny that we're all quoting our dads and our grandpas and everybody today. My dad, who's going to be 96 this year, amazing guy. I have to take him dancing every Monday night, by the way, just in case anyone wants to go there, at a dive bar in West LA.
I want to go.
Yeah, it's super fun. The first set's at 9 p.m. It's called the Cinema Bar. Anyway, Monday nights. He gave me great advice at some point in my life. I think when I was about 25, I had just come out of a relationship, and this, I think, is applicable to all my work, that had left. I had been with someone who was indecisive. And in order to try and make this person feel more decisive, I had begun to defer to them. And the relationship didn't end well. And my dad looked at me and said, I think you should go to Yugoslavia and do an exhibition of your artwork in Belgrade. And I was like, what? And I said, but what if I don't, right? Okay, that's crazy, but what if it's not the right thing to do? And my dad said, if you make a decision and it's not the right thing to do, you'll make another decision. You try it, and if something's not right, you try something else. And I think it's actually incredible advice that I have carried through my life, and it's really applicable in the work that we do too, because a lot of times we're spitballing. Like, we created a nonprofit, it was rugged, it was scrappy. We were in the ocean space because that's the only place people were talking about marine debris. You know, people didn't even call it plastic or plastic pollution. They didn't call it anything yet. Garbage, litter, rubbish, waste. So we started in a space and tried to bring it out of that space into the health space, the environmental justice space, like all of these other spaces. And you got to be scrappy to do that. And you've got to try different things. And if something doesn't work, you got to try something else. So.
That's wonderful. Can we get a round of applause for all of them? Incredible. And, we're going to do some quick closing remarks, and then you guys are all going to network and mingle and try to find maybe your future mentor. So that's great. Give them one more round of applause. Thank you, guys.